So I picked another little wild carrot. They're all over. I'm going crazy not picking them. It's just I got so many things I'm trying to do lately that. But I do want to pick a bunch of wild carrot again this year. I went on a mania years ago with it, and I still have, you know, several of the bird nest finished seed clusters with all the columns, the bracts. But anyway, this one had a much nicer red dot. It's a small flower. My landlord had mowed and weed whacked all around the yard, and right outside my door, the yard is like wild carrot craziness because of all the times I'd loaded up the back of my car and then unloaded my car and dropped seeds everywhere. So basically, it won't be long before our whole lawn is just carrot. So anyway, this is after it was already chopped down, after this had already started growing and it got chopped down, they grow again and the flowers still come, but this is much smaller than the ones that are flowering all around right now. But you can see that beautiful red dot. And you can also see the way it spirals out like a pine cone except flat. Or like the galaxy. This one looks a bit more like the menorah. I forget what these are called. But you know, as I said on my other one, they're the crown of thorns. This is the rest of the second year carrot. It's already starting to die. That's what the leaves look like. I just picked it today, right outside my front door. Now see, second year wild carrots, the roots become very woody. Jesus was a carpenter. The roots become very woody the second year. Can't really eat them, though at certain times, I suppose, especially if they're big enough, you can carve off the outside layer and eat the inner layer, so I've been told. I roast them. And if you add them to, you know, a hot water, or even if you add them to coffee, it's like a double stimulant. But if you roast the second year carrot, and I'm sure it depends on what time of year as to the effect you get, and especially it seems like right here where the ground and the, you know, right where the root meets the stem, I tend to roast, you know, favor that part. Little indent. But pretty unique leaves among plants. I also picked a beautiful tiny dandelion. Where'd I put it? Oh yeah. And then I dropped my phone on it, so I smushed it was just a very small globe, but it was like the most perfect globe I've ever seen of a dandelion. But if you look at all the old flags and all the old insignia, you'll notice that the dragon's paws, the dragon's feet, the whole part of the dragon looks a lot like these leaves. So what does that dandelion do? What does it attack? What does it kill? It's bitter. When they're young, they're sweet. It flushes out the bowels. I can't remember what the other dandelion human properties are, but and of course dandelion root is famously like a coffee substitute, but I'm not really sure if that's true because I don't know if dandelion root's a stimulant. I haven't really looked into it. The wild carrot is definitely a stimulant and definitely a coffee substitute. But I think there might be more in the processing or fermenting. Isn't coffee fermented? Something has to happen with the beans. More research. But yeah, I just wanted to get that before this flower died. That beautiful red dot. Actually, yeah, maybe I'll pick this one and put it under the microscope. So I've never looked at one under the microscope after all these years. When I get into wild carrot, man, I go fucking crazy. Wild carrot's like crack. You know? It's like geometry. Geometry and wild carrots are like crack. Once you pop, you can't stop, man. Oh. If I can hook you on wild carrot, you'll be hooked. Don't keep coming back to me. See, I ain't a dealer. I want you to keep coming back to me. You know there's a story out there. And you're the story. You're the storyteller. You're the story. And just believe. Have faith. That's what they tell me, right? And I'm telling you. And then someday in my weakness, you'll tell me again and remind me. Thank you. Bought these today because I was in a rush in the morning. Little did I know they both have milk. And this one has egg. I have to admit though, I cannot tell a lie. Yes, I can. But I won't lie in this instance. I ate them anyway because I was freaking starving. And I was running late, so I knew I wasn't going to take lunch today. But the leprechauns. Okay, the elves, but whatever. The leprechauns. Harriet Tubman. Host. Heavenly host. And then, I know I already went over this with my yesterday's video, but I can't begin to describe how pleased I am with this, and please don't hate me for being like, I'm not trying to be like, it's, on one hand it's like, you got a couple pendulums and you think that's so great, but yeah, I do. I love it. And then, what I've noticed with the way I made it, instead of having gears where it has the rubber band inner outer thing on the coffee lids, is that you can get it to slip, but it'll self-correct. So that's an interesting feature of this that I didn't anticipate. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something I never even would have guessed. And thanks to my sloppiness and laziness, I figured out something. Okay, so those are obviously not aligned. And then let it go. And it self-corrects. I like that. I like that quite a bit. So yeah, I got more to do with this. I found some stuff today that relates it. I don't know if where you live this is like this, but over the last several years there's more and more free shit beside the road, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, I found this winch. Just missed a bunch of junk. But I took it, and I might see if my dad wants it. I don't think I have a use for it. I don't like having too much stuff, especially useful stuff. But yeah, this gear, that was the next thing I was gonna start working on for this project, is this type of gear. And so I thought pretty much the whole reason I picked it up is so I could just kind of look at it and maybe kind of see how this works and the mechanism here, and just think about it, because even though it's a simple object and mechanism, and like in engineering somebody could figure it out in 5 minutes and then make one. I have such a hard time understanding the simplest things. I mean, you got a bolt, you got a bolt, you got a thing, you got a this, and that's it. Yeah, there's all the string and all this, but you got 2 things and 2 things. You got 4 things with a 5th thing, and that's it. And it's just, it's infinitely, it's going to take me a week to figure out how this thing works, you know? Even if I were to build one, like if you have one, you can build it and replicate it, but that doesn't mean you understand it. To actually understand it in the brain is like, man, so hard. And then I found, I found this too. And I thought, I don't know what this is. It says silver rod. I don't know what the heck silver rod's used for, but I really want to study spherical geometry, so I've been thinking about different ways to like make globes, and either like making clear globes out of like plastic and epoxy. I saw a thing about globe making on TV, and it actually doesn't look that hard to make a pretty good spherical globe. It would take some time, you know, but not a heck of a lot of time. Making one clear would be tough, I think. Could use like plastic wrap and epoxy maybe, I don't know. But another way would just be, you know, using wires and making great circles, like mathematically great circles where every circle is like a diameter, or even not diameters, but I thought this was just the right size for making the type of circles I want to make, just the right rigidity, and there's quite a bit of it, so I thought that was pretty cool. Thought that would come in handy. And then, yeah, I got these two. So I think I want to hang up some curtains in my house and like partition off little parts. I kind of want to, I got a double door there, glass door there, but it's right out onto my porch, and my neighbors are on my porch and stuff, so I always keep that window double door closed. Well, it's one door and one panel, the size of a door. But I thought I might box that area in and make it a little greenhouse. So I thought maybe if I hung wires, got some curtains or sheets or just whatever, parchment paper, section that off, then maybe I could build a little greenhouse over there. And I really want to section this area off and keep it cleaner. I'm the worst, man. I'm such a slob. But if I section this area off so that I have a place to get away from all my stuff, because no matter where I am, I'm always looking at all my stuff, and sometimes I just want to clear my mind, and my mind needs clearing bad. Okay, that's it for today, but yes, very pleased with this simple object. Made in a paint box. Why not? I love it. Hope you're having a good day. Yeah, so I guess I am gonna pick this out. Hate to, but I thought before I picked it, I'd just get a little close-up. A close-up of it. It's the period. It's the pupil. Now, this goes back to the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy, and the whole idea that the circumpunct, and I don't know if it's Egyptian, if it's the Egyptian sign, but the astrological sign for the sun is a circle with a dot in the middle. A dot is not a point because it has dimension, but it symbolizes that which has no dimension, a certain place. Electron is a point particle. There's nothing to it, as they say. Symbol for the sun. These are all quote-unquote poor examples of wild carrot. I'd say most grow much more perfectly, and I've driven by a gazillion of them recently, and I haven't picked them. But what else? So we call something a dot, right? So when we're doing math, we do a dot. In the beginning was the word. In math, we call it a dot or a point. In math, we call it a point. In writing, we call it a period, which is a relatively recent technology. And it's funny to think of the smallest thing, the smallest demarcation, the smallest mark, a target. Mark. And of course, target's red with a white circle, but same with the bullseye. Same with the outfits people wear during the running of the bulls. Red dot and white. But in writing, it's called the period. What else is called the period? When a girl spots. Why do you think that is? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. This is it. Came from Turkey. Thanksgiving. Another thing is, why do they call flour flour? Why is flour called flour? Wheat is called a wheat berry. A berry like a strawberry? Now I have some strawberries over there. Don't have nothing to do with straw. I'm telling you, everything's encoded in the wild carrot. That's a heck of a lot more like a straw. Berry. Oh, where was I getting to with that? Oh, right, why do they call flour flour? Wheat. Wheat, which is also a lot like whey. Curds and whey. Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey. And of course this looks like cottage cheese. Kinda. You'd see it more when it's in different forms and so on, but so yeah, I'm gonna pick it now and look at it under the microscope. Oh, and yeah, one more thing. And this is how you can differentiate between a wild carrot and poison hemlock, which look quite a bit alike, which Socrates killed himself with, unless he chopped up a wild carrot and put it on a wild hemlock and ate the wild carrot part, fooled everybody like a big old magic trick. I wouldn't put it past Socrates. Speaking of Socrates, like these hairy legs, maybe I can't get it here on this. Let's see if I can zoom in on it, maybe. Maybe that'll work better. I can get it focused, but they're ribbed like a pillar. Wild carrot stalks. Gosh darn it. I'll have to get a bigger one. Oh, maybe this one will work. This one is leaned over. Can you see the rib on it? Maybe if I... there's something going on. Maybe if I get some light on it. Can you see the ribs? Well, I guess there is a fire, huh? You see the ribs on it? Just like pillars. And what other words do we hear famous as a pillar? A pillar of salt. These are salty, a lot like celery. The stems are salty, a lot like celery. Every part of the carrot is so different. I guess that's the same with so many other fruits or vegetables or whatever. I was doing a bunch of caulking today on a pergola. So if you caulk all day long, this is what your hands will end up looking like. I haven't taken a shower yet. At first all this part of your hands get all the caulking, but then after about 3 or 4 hours of it, then this part wipes clean and it just stays built up on the outside. But anyway, yeah, so just like columns. And then at the tops of the columns is where they have those 3 different types of, what is it, Doric columns. Now that's also related to music, Doric, Ionic, I can't remember what they are, but that also relates to different scales. But it's also a symbol of the wild carrot and the wild carrot flower in different stages. Which they've been planting around the world through time so that the meaning could be unlocked now. Plato's the only place where we ever heard of Atlantis, right? Was Atlantis really on Mars? Was it in the mid-Atlantic? Was it Australia? Australia is an excellent contender. No one ever talks about that. Australia is an excellent contender for Atlantis. But Oz, Australia, the Wizard of Oz, Australia. Mars, marsupials. Mars, the red planet. The red plane with a T. A plane. A T. Planet. The North Pole. Goes on and on and on. And yeah, that little thing now, it ends up in the center when it's the size of a palm. And why do they call it a palm? They don't call it a hand, right? They don't call it a hand tree, they call it a palm tree. Well, a palm tree is not the size of a palm. A palm tree looks more like fingers than a palm. This is, again, a poor example, but this would be like a little kid's palm. It's the size of a palm. It's a palm tree. It's not a hand tree, it's a palm tree. And what can the palm do? It can go like this, just like the wild carrot. It's a palm tree. And Jesus had his little red dot stigmata in the middle. Well, it wasn't a stigmata when he had it, it was a big old spike, but... And what's this look like? And what were spikes made out of? Iron, rust, red, Mars. What's that look like? A little nail. Every other one is curved. That's the one that's straight down. Straight up. Okay, time for the microscope.